Welcome back to part 6 of the platinum refining series of videos here. Let's take our solution and I'm going to put it back in this beaker, and what we'll do is reduce this down a little bit by evaporation. Set this up on the heat. And let this evaporate down to about 200 milliliters of solution. Got our solution evaporated down. Let's go ahead and pull it down off the heat. Let it cool down. What I'll do now is transfer the solution to this smaller beaker. Mix up some ammonium chloride. Make a saturated solution of ammonium chloride. Add some distilled water. Reach down in here and get a little bit of solution on our piece of filter paper here. Do a stannous test. Boom. Bright orange. Add some ammonium chloride to this and precipitate out our platinum. Here we go. Here's our precipitate. It's not quite as burgundy colored as the first two precipitations, so we got a little bit of the iridium out of there. Do another stannous test on our liquid in here. And you can see by that negative stannous test, we still got a little bit of platinum in solution maybe. Here's our precipitate. Still got a little bit of metal in solution, but just going to pour that off as a waste solution. So now what we're going to do is add some distilled water to this ammonium chloride to dilute it down a little bit. And now what we'll do is pour off our waste solution into this temporary beaker. Alright, there's what the precipitate looks like down in the beaker. It's just a powdery substance in our waste solution. So now what I'll do is I'm going to rinse it over and over with some of this ammonium chloride water. I have to let this settle again. This is going to take some time, but we'll just let that settle out, and then we'll pour off the waste solution into our temporary waste beaker. Here you can see the solution's already starting to, or the precipitate is already starting to settle out. Once it settles out, we'll pour that liquid off and then add some more of the ammonium chloride water and rinse it over and over until we get all the any metals that are in solution rinsed off of our precipitate. I've rinsed the platinum off several times now with ammonium chloride water. What we're going to do now is pour this final rinse off. Still got just a little bit of color to it. Just carefully pour this off into our waste container. Now we're going to get ready to burn the platinum one more time here. I've got a fused quartz dish we'll use this time. I'm just going to pour our precipitate right into this, if we can get it all in here. Too much. Alrighty. Underestimated the size of the dish there. So what we'll do is go ahead and evaporate off some of this in this dish and get the rest of our precipitate in there. Put this on some low heat here. We'll start evaporating this down so we can make some room, hopefully, in our fused quartz dish. Turned away just for a few minutes. Came back out and I've got the platinum salt spattered everywhere. Here we're going to add a little bit more in here and continue to evaporate this off slowly. Turn the heat down so that we've got a little bit better chance now, not making such a big mess. Got it evaporated down somewhat. So now what we're going to try to do here is set up to get the rest of our platinum salts into this dish. Alright, I've got a little clamp up here that I've clamped the beaker into so we can drain the precipitate down into our fused quartz dish. Some ammonium chloride water here. Try to squirt some of it up into here and rinse some of this out of here and down into our dish where we're going to calcine our material. I don't want to put too much liquid in here. Start spattering and boiling it again. That seemed to help. Got most of it out of the beaker. This has been on evaporating for about half an hour now. I think we've got most of the moisture out of there. What we'll do is I'm going to crank this up a little bit and get it as dry as we can before we transfer it to the oven. I've got my mask on, and now what we're going to do is take this out to the oven. I'm going to transfer it to the oven outdoors. We need to take this up to about 800 Celsius. And the time right now is, we just put it in, about 10:45. So we'll keep an eye on this and check its progress as it begins to burn. This is about 5 minutes into the burn. Okay, we've been in here now for about, let's see what we got for time on here. It's a little over 7 minutes. And that's what it looks like in the furnace. Looking good. Alright, we've been in there about 30 minutes now. And you can see we're progressing fairly well here. It's turning a nice ashen gray color, which is what we want to see. Alright, here I am standing way upwind of the furnace. Before, the color on the top of that thing was a pure white. And I shut the door and it started to heat up in there. And then I noticed this yellow color forming on the top of the furnace. That's not good. That means that we're probably burning some of our platinum away as it does the calcining process. We want to see that color be pure white and not yellow like that. We've got this thing up to about 800 Celsius. This stuff has been in there for about 20 minutes or so, half hour. As you can see, the material is nice and gray. I think it's all complete, no more smoke. So what we're going to do, just crack the door open here and shut the furnace off and just let this cool down slowly. We've got the temperature down below 100 degrees. We're going to reach in here and grab our dish with our platinum in it. We'll go in and check this out and see exactly what we got here. Here's a look at the platinum sponge in our fused quartz dish. And before we proceed any further with this, I'm going to set this off to the side. And now what we're going to do is, let's see here. We're going to rinse these containers that have this residual platinum salts down into this one beaker so we can get it out of here and get it in our stock pot. It shouldn't be allowed to dry off, because they're even worse when they're in a powdered form such as this here. So we want to rinse this all down with some distilled water, pour it into this container. Yeah, see, the powder can be easily inhaled, and then once you get it in your lungs, boy oh boy, don't want to see what happens. After that, get this stuff all rinsed down into our beaker. We'll get it into the stock pot. I've made the decision to not go any further with trying to do the hydrolysis. What we're going to do is put our metal in this crucible and go ahead and melt this up into a button. Now that we've calcined the platinum to a metallic state, it is no longer toxic. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring it down here to our melt table, and I'm going to cover it up with some borax. I've got my mask on, and I've got the flame on my torch set real low. I'm going to slowly start heating up our crucible here with our platinum in it. Okay, here's our little button of platinum that we just melted. Got a nice reflection going on in there. And I'd like to apologize to my viewers for not being able to pull off the hydrolysis. I just lacked the skill and knowledge necessary to do it. I mean, I've exposed myself repeatedly in this series to the salts and solutions of platinum, and they're highly toxic. So I made a command decision and decided to go ahead and melt this thing up and make this little button. We'll offer this thing for sale on my eBay site. 9.9 grams of probably 92 to 95% pure platinum. This will conclude the platinum refining bromate hydrolysis series of videos. Thank you for watching.